Welcome to my channel, Pomni Theory. 2 days ago, Gooseworks posted a recording of the conclusion of the second series of the amazing digital circus. From this, we can assume that Zubble or Jax may survive the abstraction in the new series. You might ask why this might be the case, but today I'm going to show you the official information from the developers. Just 2 days ago, Gooseworks on their official Twitter account published 2 interesting posts on their official Twitter account. No captions, just images, but they had some interesting details. Somewhere in the video, I hid an image of Kinger, and whoever finds it will get secret information about the second episode of the amazing digital circus. If we look at the first post, we see the following. There are 5 main characters in front of us, and they look pretty weird. Ragatha, Gangle, Pomni, and Kinger. Judging by their facial expressions, they are worried about something, while Jax sits quite contentedly. But why are there only 5 characters here and not 6? That's right, Zubal is missing from this drawing. Why is that? And where could she have been? There have been many comments left under this post about Zubal being missing, but Gooseworks itself hasn't written anything back. I have a theory about this, that Gooseworks is either playing us on purpose, or this really is a new spoiler for the second episode of the amazing digital circus. Judging from Goose's early comments and posts, when asked what Series 2 would be about, she said it would be about depression, and in a way, Zubal fits that theme. If you recall that she didn't want to participate in the mission from Kane because she doesn't understand who she is or why she's here, then depression could be related. However, there's also interesting information that the third episode of the amazing digital circus is supposed to be about Zubal. Gooseworks wrote about it somewhere. So which of all this information is true? In my previous video, I showed and told you why Gooseworks may not be telling us the truth sometimes. And based on all the posts that the writers have published on the subject of Series 2, this whole information may or may not be true. And then we will be very surprised when the second series comes out because it won't be what we expected. However, out of all this information, there may be partial truth. There were no statements from the writers on this post from 2 days ago, so it could have been created for discussion among fans. Although the option with Zubal abstracting it could be quite likely. However, I did find another interesting fact. Remember the post with Pain, Kane's very real brother who was drawn by Gooseworks, and later the Gooseworks account published a model of him already. And I found another interesting similarity. Remember the pre-final scene of the pilot when all the characters are sitting at the table? Their sequence was Ratha, Kinger, Gangle, Pomni, Jax, and Zubal. And in this post we see exactly the same sequence, only instead of Zubal, Kinger is sitting there, and the image is quite consistent. Note that even the emotions of the characters are very similar. The facial expressions are exactly the same in the first series finale as in this picture. Presumably, every episode of the amazing digital circus will end with the characters sitting around a table with digital food. Could this mean that theoretically the developers are starting to give us spoilers that a second series is on the way? I think so, because as the writers promised us, the second series of the amazing digital circus is due out in early 2024, and it's already February. So either the trailer or the series itself should already be out this month, but we wouldn't feel bad if it all came out at the same time. But what's wrong with Jax? What's wrong with him if he seems to be sitting at a desk and it really doesn't suit him to be depressed? But right after the first post from Gooseworks, there was a separate post with Jax. Here's what it looks like. But you might ask, what's so unusual about that? But what if I told you it could be the first step of abstraction? I recently showed concepts for new characters, but they also showed sketches of several stages of abstraction. And again, I noticed a similarity between the faces of the abstracted characters and Jax's face in this painting. What struck me was the almost identical placement of the eyes. Also, we probably don't know yet how the character's transformation happens, and maybe before he becomes an abstracted character, he starts to break off like in this picture. Also in one of the developer posts, we see black hair, and as we know, the color of the abstract is black. Also, for some reason, the hair and its concepts are placed next to the abstracted character, which also raises questions. Also, Gooseworks had a post about Jax, which is probably a fan post, but it could also be a reference to our situation because Gooseworks kind of jokes about wanting to take a shot at Jax's toy. But it could also have something to do with the show because we don't know what Gooseworks has in store for us, and she's the one who wrote the plot for the entire first series. Based on the theory about abstraction, that one character is replaced by another, I have an interesting theory about Jax's sinister sister. Again, if you go back to Gooseworks' Twitter account, she has posted several times on this topic. One of the posts was just the concept of a sinister sister Jax, But the second post, which had as many as 3 drawings, was a more realistic and colorful depiction of Sister Jax. Also, Gooseworks has a lot of posts related to Jax, but that's understandable because he's one of the most popular characters, and if you accept that Gooseworks sometimes jokes around, then I think all the information in these posts really isn't true. Oh, and also in the new teaser from the developers we saw Pommy, Jax, and Ratha, and I have a theory that these are the characters that will make it through the Amazing Digital Circus. So personally, I believe that Jax will not be removed from the Amazing Digital Circus anytime soon. 1, because he's one of the most beloved characters, and 2, he probably brings in a lot of money for Glitch because they sell Amazing Digital Circus plush toys. There are also a lot of fan posts with Jax, and he's very popular with Amazing Digital Circus fans. And as far as abstracting goes, I think Jax will be one of the last to be abstracted, or not abstracted at all. Now it's worth taking a closer look at the subject of the finale of the second series of the Amazing Digital Circus. As I said earlier, it will most likely end the same way as Series 1, at the table. But what might happen before the finale and why Zubal won't appear in it? After all, I suggested the theory that Zubal might just stay in his room and not appear in the last scene. And in the third episode, we learn the stages of abstraction using Zubal as an example, because if she doesn't leave the room, she might abstract like Calmo. Oh, and besides, if the developers told us that the third series of the Amazing Digital Circus would be about Zubal, that could be a distinct possibility. But one thing I'm curious about is that Gooseworks has said that Zubal is her favorite character. And indeed, they even look like her characters. And her avatar looks like Zubal. And why wouldn't Gooseworks have deleted Zubal? Did she really see her character as a defeat, even though Zubal is Gooseworks' favorite character? I think there is a possibility that the author deleted Zubal, and accordingly, that would explain the ending of the third series of the Amazing Digital Circus. However, I think it's more likely that either Kinger or Ragatha could be abstracted in the second series, because they have a good chance of doing so. By the way, we can still consider the fact that Gooseworks said that the new series will feature a new character we haven't met yet. But whether this is believable remains to be seen. On one hand, we have concepts of new characters from both developers and fan accounts, and we can find a replacement for any character. But it's unknown if the developers will add a new character or abstract someone in the new series. What are your theories about the finale of the second series of the Amazing Digital Circus? What do you think about the information the developers are giving us? Are they worth believing? Don't forget to leave your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to put a like under the video and subscribe to my channel. Good luck to everyone and bye!